I was 6 years old, I loved finding new things. I couldn't go into a store without a parent or a babysitter without saying, come here, come here, come here, I have to show you something. We didn't need to buy it, I just needed to show you something. Fast forward a few years, I decided to continue my love for finding new things, so I opened up a store called Story, and we reinvent the entire store every 4 to 8 weeks, so it's like a living magazine.
My name is Berman. I'm 17 years old now. I go to Riverdale Country School, and I'm taking the SAT in a month.
So continuing my passion, after passing the SAT and getting into college, I decided to start this event at Story about a year ago called Pitch Night. And we'd often get pitched ideas from different people, and since I love finding new things, it was a night and an opportunity for people to bring their passions to us, and we got to see what they did, and that's Pitch Night.
So Rachel, at a young age, had this passion for finding stuff. And recently, I developed a passion for raw denim. So if you don't know what raw denim is, it's basically denim before it's been washed, before it's been bleached, before it's been torn. It's denim in its loom state. And so it starts out super stiff and deep, inky blue color. And as you wear it, the idea is that it breaks in and molds to you. The reason for this is because indigo as a dye is actually a pretty crappy dye. And so it doesn't penetrate the core of the yarn during the dyeing process. And so I love this idea that as I wore my jeans, they would wear in and they would become personal to me. They took on my own character. If I tripped and fell, I remembered where that tear happened. I started with a blank slate that told my story. And so I sort of came up with this idea after having this passion for a while to apply this fabric that I loved and knew a bunch about and start applying it to other commonly used goods that we use every day, like wallets, I don't know, dog leashes eventually, iPhone sleeves. And so the first night I came up with that idea, I remember I ran into my bedroom, I cut up a bunch of construction paper, and I stapled together a tote bag design. Now fast forward a little bit, I bought a sewing machine with some saved up money and taught myself how to sew. And the first project I made was this tote bag, kind of an ambitious project to start. You can see I did a liner and this like triangle design, but that was the birth of my company.
So you heard a little bit about Pitch Night. I think you know PSFK. And so a little while ago, I was in Detroit, and I just fell in love with it. And I found this place, Pony Ride Detroit. It met these amazing makers making amazing things and taking old factories and old machines and using them for new things, and I was really excited. So last summer was a Made in America story. And one of the things that we do is, it's not just about meeting me or coming to Story, but it's about creating access to other people who can help young makers. And so we'll bring in members of the press like PSFK, and we'll bring in buyers from other stores, and people will show up and they'll pitch their product.
So similar to Rachel's newfound interest in handmade and the resurgence of the Made in America movement, I'd been getting involved in this too, and I'd started to teach myself new skills and just began making stuff in my bedroom. So I taught myself how to hand sew leather goods. So that's an iPad sleeve. The last picture was a card holder that I hand punch each hole individually, and then with 2 needles and a piece of wax thread, I stitch one by one, and then finish the edges with a beeswax mixture I cook up in my kitchen. So it's a lot of labor, but it's a cool, I like to play around with, that's vegetable tanned leather, so it starts out kind of skin color, as you can see, and as you wear it with hand oils and sunlight, the leather darkens and the denim lightens, so it's sort of a cool juxtaposition. I also began another way to sort of immerse myself in the industry was I started to sneak into, well, not sneak into, I would print out business cards in my room that said Will Berman Unwashed Denim. And I'd go to these trade shows during New York Market Week, flash Will Berman Unwashed Denim, and I'd get to meet and talk to some of my favorite people in the industry. So I met Carl from Rogue Territory, Eric from Jean Shop, and I just learned a bunch from them. So after all this, my mom was walking. Is my mom out there? Hi, Mom. She was walking in Chelsea, and she passed by this store called Story. So she went inside and said this place would be perfect for Will. So eventually she found out there was something called Pitch Night, and I signed up and headed there the next week.
So this is what happens at Pitch Night. I find an object to stand on, and I hopefully don't fall, and I say, welcome to Pitch Night. All of you are in this room because you make something that you're passionate about, and you're here to show it to us. So welcome. This is how tonight's going to work. When you came in, you got a number, and that is the order that you get to pitch. You have 3 minutes to pitch. Use it whatever which way you want. You will be meeting me and the other people here tonight, Piers, who's the founder of PSFK, and so you have a chance to be featured on their site or sold in story or ask us whatever you want. And in the meantime, we're going to be off in the corner while you're pitching us one-on-one, and you all get to meet each other. So interact, share stories, see what you each other make, and grab a PBR and have a fun time.
And while everyone was having PBR, I was enjoying a nice cold glass of water in the corner. So I started to mingle with people, talk about what they made, show them my stuff. And I had a backpack full of all my stuff, my iPhone sleeves, my card holders. I started talking to one lady, told her all about it, and then at the end I said, so what do you make? And she actually said, oh, I'm the buyer. So that was kind of nice.
So there's a whole range of people who show up. So from pottery to bow ties. But here's the thing, not only did he meet the buyer, but he wooed anyone and everyone in that room, including every possible employee at Story. So he had an advantage going into it because I'm sitting there and the team comes running up and they're like, oh my God, there's this kid and he's in high school and you're just gonna freak out. So, so charm doesn't get you into the store, but great product and passion and charm does. And so it took all of maybe 22 seconds for us to be like, yeah, let's put it all in the store. And when we feature people in Story, whether you're a new designer, whether you're a brand that's been around for 10 years, we really like telling the story, but it's not just about the story. It's about where can you find them, right? They have websites, they have Twitter handles, and it's really about using a store not just for sales, but for discovery. And you saw the title of the talk, it said democratizing discovery, and you're probably like, what are they up here talking about? But the thing is this, right? We're all used to Kickstarter, and we're all used to Etsy, and you can make something and sell it in 5 seconds online, and you can get access online. But where's the living version of that discovery, and where's the democracy that brings access to makers and sellers and brands to do that? And so we liked Will so much and his product, and it sold through, by the way, that we brought him back from Holiday, so he had his bio and his stuff in Holiday as well.
And so then after being in Story for a couple of stories, I got an email a few months later from people who were from London, and they'd been walking through Story and happened to see my iPad cases. And so they wanted to carry them, and I said that would be awesome. So I went to my bedroom and got working on one of my second huge wholesale order. So there's me hand stitching the card holder, hand cutting some denim. And then a few weeks later, I shipped it out to London, and my iPad sleeves were in the store.
So I was talking about democratizing access. So Will came back for Holiday Pitch Night, even though he was in the store. We had Evan and Josh from Cool Hunting there, and their gift guide is the penultimate place to have your product. And so Will went, and he pitched them, and I sat there very quiet. And within a second, they fell in love with the merchandise as well, and it was sitting alongside some of the favorite heritage brands that we all know and love.
So a few more of the opportunities that Pitch Night sort of provided me was Rachel actually introduced me to Scott of 3x1, which is one of the biggest raw denim brands on the market, and they have a store down in Soho. So I got to meet Scott, and I showed him my products, and he decided to pick up some of it too. So now Rachel has some competition. Another interesting thing another interest of mine that I found throughout this whole process is that I really like working with other like-minded people who enjoy making cool stuff. And Rachel sort of enabled me to do that, but also social media. Through Instagram, I've sort of gained followers, but also like a community of makers and craftsmen. So I actually found a metalsmith from Pittsburgh I wanted to do like something different, but that had the same aesthetic. So we made these hand-forged brass cuffs for my 1-year anniversary, but we left them uncoated. So the raw brass would age and tarnish the same way that the raw denim, I loved it, and the leather, I loved it. And that's our story.